Welcome to my podcast story, the show where podcasters share the real journey behind their voices, from their first mic check to their biggest milestones. Every episode reveals the lessons, challenges, and breakthrough that shape a podcast star's journey. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I can't wait for you to hear today's story. In today's episode of my podcast story, we have Jessica Martin, a visionary human strategist who hosts her podcast dedicated to empowering corporate decision makers to navigate the intricate landscapes of human potential. Jessica's podcast blends neuroscience with ancient wisdom to help listeners break free from societal constraints and transform both their organizations and personal lives. What makes Jessica's podcasting journey particularly fascinating is her extensive background spanning corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, and her ongoing pursuit of a PhD in integrative medicine. After experiencing burnout herself, she turned her recovering journey into a mission to help others find balance and success without sacrificing well-being. She's here to share how she built her platform from a place of personal transformation and how she's using her voice to create a new era of conscious business strategy that prioritizes both results and human flourishing. Tell us your name and what you do.
I'm Jessica, and we have a podcast called For the Plot.
Hey, what's the podcast about?
Anything and everything. That's why we named it For the Plot. So some of the things on there are spirituality or belief systems, enlightenment, politics, what's going on in the world and society. So there's like a variety of things that we end up talking about.
Who's the podcast for?
It's for those who maybe don't agree with traditional society, right? Like it's for people who don't believe that there's one belief, for those who maybe don't agree with politics or things going on in society. It's really about personal growth and finding your own path and journey forward. And so it's for those that are curious about other opinions and other things. And there's like a whole group of us that come on every week, and we bring up different topics. And usually during the show, the next topic shows itself, and then we end up talking about that at the next episode.
Okay. What was the inspiration that led to you starting the podcast?
Well, I found that these same ladies I was on the phone with every week, and we were talking about these things. We were talking about, spirituality, politics, what was going on in the world and how it related to us. And all of us are some type of like healing, right? Like I do a lot of burnout, health things, and like anything in Vedic science, and really about like human consciousness. And then someone else is a spiritual practitioner, someone else is a tarot reader, someone else, like everyone has like different things they bring to it. And we were always talking about this, and we're multi-generational. And so it's always helpful to get other people's opinions and perspectives on things. And I wanted to have a voice, and I wanted to say something, but I didn't want it to just be my voice. I didn't want people thinking like, oh, I should listen to her opinion. I wanted a collective of opinions. We don't always agree, right? So, and that's what I love about it is I can say, well, what's your experience with this? And what's your experience with that? And everyone brings in these different experiences from different places of the world. One of them travels all the time. I have no idea sometimes what country she's in. And another gal's from Brazil. And, so like all these different experiences come in of different perspectives and opinions, and even like different career paths. And so I think it's helpful for listeners to hear that there's never a one way forward or a right path forward. It's you need to think for yourself. And you need to think about these things going on in the world and your own growth and journey, and then being able to understand it by listening to others and go, I could take that perspective, or I don't like that idea. So it helps you kind of feed your own thoughts and opinions.
Oh, with what you just explained, it sounds like there are 4 or 5 co-hosts for the podcast. With what you just explained, it sounds like there are 4 to 5
Yeah.
co-hosts for the podcast.
Yep. There's 5 of us total. Yeah.
Okay. So, my question, out of curiosity, is who handles the production of the podcast? I'm
I
guessing it's
do.
you.
Yeah, I do. And I am like the laziest producer. It's so bad. I do a live stream so that I don't have to do any editing. And we have episodes, like we have a back pile of when we first started of all these episodes. And I'm like, one of us is going to need to like go through and publish these. And we'll probably get to it at some point. It's a journey because I've been a guest on podcasts for a long time, but I hadn't really done my own podcast. I'd wanted to for a while, but I didn't want restrictions on it and I didn't want it to just be me. And so as I was going through thinking like the effort of like getting all these guests, which is funny because now we have this huge list of guests for the podcast, and I'm working through them, but like going through and doing all the editing and, really having to like focus just on that. It really wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be very authentic. I wanted it to be like us getting together when I'm like, hold that thought, hold on, let me add so and so to the call. And, I wanted it to be like that. And so when I was looking at doing this, for everyone to get comfortable, because some of these people had never met. And I was like, no, you got to meet her. She's amazing. And so I brought them all together. And as I was waiting for them to kind of think and get familiar and comfortable with each other, we were pre-recording. And it was funny because right off the bat, everyone kind of very quickly picked up on who knew what. And now they're all global friends. And we've only been doing this like a couple months. But it's really been fun. And I'm, again, not that great at production. I just found this really great plugin called TubeBuddy because I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like figuring this out. So I hired a consultant because I was like, I don't want to disappoint these ladies. And so I was like, I better figure out what I'm doing. And so I hired a consultant and he was like, well, you have to, here's TubeBuddy, get that. And I said, well, can I live stream? Is that going to demonetize us? He's like, no, that's great. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, and you need to do reels. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, and you need thumbnails. And I'm like, what's a thumbnail? And so which is funny because I have 4 podcasts already that are of me just going off on these tangents. And they're all for different
Okay.
parts of my businesses, but I don't deal with it. Like I have staff. So I don't even know what goes on. I'm like, gosh, is editing really hard? And they're like, yes. And I was like, well, I don't want to edit. And then, so I would call them. I'm like, hey, this consultant sent all this over. Can you review it and tell me what it is? And they're like, yeah, that's what we do for your other podcasts. And I was like, can you help me? Like, I don't want to put this off on you guys. I want to do this one. So I'm learning. I have a lot to learn still. Like the descriptions, the keywords. That's why I just got TubeBuddy and I just did it this week and put it on. And so we'll see what happens. But I think it's great that to be able to bring this audience of 5 people out there for other people to experience these other opinions and experiences in life.
Earlier on, you mentioned that you have 4 podcasts. What do you mean? Like you have 4 podcasts of different parts of the business running up to now, or
Yeah. Yeah. I
okay,
record, I have a lot of thoughts and ideas and,
okay,
I live in the middle of nowhere and like people don't understand that. But when I say that, I truly like, it's amazing we have internet and we live really far away from people, everything, and have thousands of acres around us. So there's not a lot of like outside information unless I go seek it. And I spend a lot of time in samadhi and meditation, and doing my own things with corporations and what have you. So when over the years our business has grown, I originally started as a tea manufacturer, and then we moved out to this farm so that I could have more room to grow my herbs. And then that turned into people going, well, how do you grow your herbs? And so I started teaching astrology because that's how I grow my herbs, is based off of like the moon and all this is astrological. And then people were like, well, how come your herbs taste different than others? And I was like, I don't know. And so I started tasting other people's teas and I was like, oh, okay. So then I got what they were saying. And so then I started teaching people how to synchronize their energy with plants and then healing, because most of our teas were for people with like PTSD, fibromyalgia, depression, hormone imbalances, just overall wellness. Like there were so many teas. We had 50 different lines. And it just kind of kept growing and people kept asking me to teach them these other things. So over the years, the company just continued to grow. And now we split out last year into all these different companies because the audiences were different. And so in order to thrive in those businesses, we really started having to like really go, okay, this is this audience, this audience, this audience. And so now we have a business audience where it's teaching people how to launch a business, how to prevent burnout, how to handle technology, how to scale, all those things. Then we have another part, and it like mainly came because I kept doing leadership talks. Like I kept getting these calls to do, they were like, your business is
Yeah.
designed so weird. And I was like, is it? I don't know. Like I'm isolated. I'm in my own bubble. I don't know. I just built it because it worked for me. And so
Yeah.
I have a structure that's unique, and my team is unique that way too. And so there's that piece. And then and that's Bliss Out Mentor. And then we have Journeying with Jessica. And Journeying with Jessica is all of the metaphysical enlightenment, and no belief systems, how to be enlightened. And so people were asking me how to become psychic. They're asking me how to talk to the plants and just all these different things, from like getting readings to channeling to astrology, like you name it. I was getting questions about different belief systems. I happen to have been fascinated with that. And so I practiced multiple belief systems and was initiated into many. And so that's what that's about, and that audience. And then my third audience is just living your best life. And that's mainly been based off of Vedic science from my studies of human consciousness. And I follow the Maharishi practices and Kailasa practices. And I teach people, again, about astrology, but I also teach them about neuroscience, physiology, quantum physics, string theory. Like it's very science based. And the funny thing is that's come out of that is not what I expected. I expected it to be like this really heavy science type of like teaching people about how their whole system works so that they could hack it and be able to live their best life. But what's
Yeah.
happened is it's turned into these programs. Like one of them is Adulting 101. And in Adulting 101, because I also used to be a financial broker or advisor, I had this whole brokerage where I was teaching finances. And so we teach finances, we teach boundaries, core values, um, helping people find their career path. And we do like these assessments every week and then kind of unpack the assessments and go, okay, well, how do you feel about that? What do you want to change about your life? And so there's really interesting things that come out of all of this. And like one of them that we're getting ready to do is Healthy with Fibro, because I have a couple autoimmune diseases. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to live in isolation. Needless to say, COVID was amazing for me. It was the healthiest I'd been in my entire life. I was like, great, all the sick people are home. But Healthy with Fibro is a program I'm getting ready to kick off again. And we've done it several different times. And this time I'm changing it because I'm in my own flare up. And so just this year, I've had a kidney infection, pneumonia twice, strep throat, some weird blood infection. I don't even remember what they called it. Like I've just been sick, one thing after another, cardiology, like you name it. I'm like, bring it. I'm going to flare up. Let's go. And so I thought, well, this is the first time I ran the program and been in like this massive flare up myself. And
Yeah.
so I'm relaunching that so that it's like really going through it together. And so that'll be kind of fun, being able to do that and be like, hey guys, I just don't feel good today. We're just going to sit here and do Nidra yoga and, let's just go through that. We'll just sit here together. And they're like, great. So, um, it'll be fun. So yeah, those are all the different things. And then I have for the plot because it's fun.
Yeah. I'm curious. Of all the podcasts you've mentioned so far, which one is the oldest?
The oldest, I have one that's really old. I don't even publish to it anymore, but I guess it would be Journeying with Jessica. Like I had one for Rabbit's Pantry, which was the herbs. Um, and that one, I think it was 2018. I started that one.
Oh,
But I kept getting uh censored and blocked. So I was like, this is ridiculous. So then I started the Journey with Jessica one. And so that's probably my oldest. And then they just kind of
oh.
keep adding since. I
Okay.
have a
What
lot
about
to
for the
say.
plot? I said, what about for the plot? You mentioned earlier that that's a very new podcast. Like, how new
Yeah.
is it?
I think our first YouTube is a month ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
That
it's,
is very new.
yeah, yeah. And let me see. I have it pulled up here. I don't think it's doing great, but that's why I got TubeBuddy. There's 5 videos up, and I have like I think 5 in the back. So I think we've only been doing it 2 months, but I got lazy and started doing it live. Um, and let's see. I mean, it doesn't seem to be doing too bad, but like one
Can
has
you
like 8 views.
can you show us what you're saying? If possible, show us some of the TubeBuddy magic that you're talking about.
Oh, the TubeBuddy. Okay. Have you
Yeah,
used
and
it?
then the channel. Yeah, I'm aware of it. Uh,
Oh, so you're a
at the bottom
pro?
of the screen. No. I didn't say, I did. I said I'm aware of it. I did not say I'm a pro. You're putting words into my mouth, Jessica.
You
I
probably
said
know
I'm
way more
aware
than
of
I
it.
do.
Okay. You could click on the share your screen, or at the bottom of the screen you see
Yeah, yeah,
share,
yeah. Okay.
and then you'll be able to share your screen.
Okay. Let's see. Share my screen. Yep. Let's do it. So it grabs in case I switch screens. This one. Okay. So this is for the plot. This is the one we just started. Let me know when you can see it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So this is the one we just started. And it's not, so if you look, all of them, I remembered to put a title on this one and this one, our first one. And then
Uh,
I have to do and this is TubeBuddy. So if you click
yeah.
on TubeBuddy, it comes in, and it gives you like it gives you messages. It tells you like, all keywords, SEO. This is where my team does all of this because it also makes all of our shorts. So yeah, here you go. So it does your keywords, it does your shorts and click magnets, it generates your thumbnails, and then it gives you a health report. So on this one, I haven't set it up yet. I just installed. But then on the
Okay.
other one, let's see. Whoops. It should give us, I think it's on this channel. There we go. I think they've been doing it on here. Yeah, this is the one we actually have it plugged in on and set up. So one of
Okay.
the things that we learned, let's go here, new channel. Okay, so one of the
Okay.
things we
Join.
learned on this one is this is new for us. So this one you can tell it's got the TubeBuddy on here. And so it
Yeah.
actually has been, well, it's taking its sweet time loading. So it's funny because this is a lesson learned. For years, I have been doing these videos and I just didn't know anything. It wasn't until I hired that consultant last month that he was like, you have great videos. You just don't know what you're doing. And I was like, okay. And so it goes in to all these different things that you can look at. And then when we go in more to, okay, watch me fumble around. We'll do this together. You'll be like, holy cow. When you come in here, though, oh, look, I accidentally streamed the plot here.
Okay.
Okay. So people are going to be like, oh, this lady. So if we come in and go to the studio, that's what I want. Actually, that he had to show me the studio. I didn't even know that. Um, and it's funny because he went in and did an optimization for us, and immediately, like, our channel changed. And I was like, okay, lesson learned. Everyone go figure out TubeBuddy and learn this stuff. And he made all of our thumbnails for us. And he went through and did a review of the channel and kind of set things straight, changed our descriptions, our keywords, all those things that I didn't know. We were just using AI to generate all of this, and it was not honed in right. And so when we look, so like this is, I don't know if it's been a full month since he came into our channel, but you can see that there's already an increase in growth and clicks, and our views have gone up too. And so, and then some of these things, like this one, I think if I click on this, it'll go in. Actually, let's go into analytics.
Wow. Okay, the graph is going up.
Yeah.
Up.
So I think these are dates that we have published. I don't know.
Yeah, the spikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and you can kind of, what I liked is it started giving me better information than, like, so YouTube's got theirs, but then with this, I can go in, and he gave me a lot of stuff we haven't finished yet. The consultant, that is. But um, one of the things I like is somehow, and I don't know how they do it because my team does it, but they use TubeBuddy to reevaluate these, and then they publish and create reels from them. So it's saving them a ton of time. I'm not the best candidate to be showing and telling this.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot.
I think if we go in, there's some place that they've shown me in here. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to watch these how-to videos.
Yeah, to get started.
But I think I have to go into my actual video, and then it gives me, let's look at this one. This one just published, I think. Also, one of the things the consultant told me that I learned is your videos need to be under 8 minutes. And that is hard for me. I talk a lot. And so what I end up doing is recording one long hour-long video. And then my team takes that video and takes each subject and chops it up so that these videos are less time. And then it kind of frees me to just speak my mind. I don't have to worry about the clock. So let's see. Well, I wish I could help you more. I should have grabbed one of them to meet with you because they have, well, here, I guess it's just in here. Suggested shorts. Well, I guess I just stay on
Oh,
YouTube.
okay. You suggest what the part to clip and then they go and cut it out.
It does from my understanding, it does it'll give you a title. It'll suggest your, I can't even remember what it's called. Whatever this thing is.
Description.
Yeah, like
Thumbnail.
the thumbnail, the description, it does all of it. So yeah, look, if I use this one, I have a 42% retention increase.
Wow, that's nice.
It's
They're
very
getting
nice.
better every day. Quick break. Before we continue, I'd love to invite you to join the My Podcast Story newsletter. Each week, I share highlights from our guest stories, behind the scenes podcasting tips, and resources to help you grow your own show. You can sign up at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. Now, let's get back to the episode.
I mean, I just didn't even know these things existed. I was doing it the
I'm
hard way.
curious.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your screen. I'm curious. You have 5 podcasts, and you're showing up for all those 5 podcasts. What would you say is how do you keep everything in track? Because a lot of persons are like, one podcast is a lot of work. I mean, 5. That's how do you even do that?
So throughout the day, whenever I have an idea or a feeling about something I've heard or seen, I jot it down. And how I do that is I have a calendar with a day that I record for the month. And I'm a very, very organized person. And I have to do that because in order to, I go very fast. And so because of it, it was driving my team nuts. And so what I started doing is one weekend a month, out like on a Saturday or a Sunday, I have a calendar invite. And throughout the whole month, all my thoughts and ideas are categorized for each one of the podcasts and what I want to say. And I'll just put like a little blurb that reminds me about it, or a link to an article I read, or a conversation, or whatever it is. I just kind of collect all the information. And then what I do on my recording day is I just do it all day. And really, it's not that, it's like 4 hours. And so what I do is I open that up and I look at all the subjects, and then I decide which ones I want to talk about. And then the other ones get rolled to the next month. And sometimes they just get deleted altogether. But I just go on and talk, and I record for an hour straight. And then I give the subjects and like kind of like the overall theme of the conversation. And then I tell them like, hey, and I give it to my team. And so I'll say, here's the recording for Journey with Jessica. Here's the recording for Bliss Out Mentor. Here's the recording for Freedom Mystic. This is what each of them is about. And here's the CTA for the month. And like this whole right now, it's just, hey, just get followers. Like we now have learned how to do this correctly. So go get followers. I'm not, I just want the messages to get out so people get help for these things that they're struggling with.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And so it's, here's the CTA for this, or like maybe it's another video, maybe it's a blog I've written or something. And so all of this content from this one video gets split up over 4 to 5, sometimes 6 weeks, because sometimes I have a lot to say. And they take that, and this one person on my team takes the video, clips, and does the editing, and then passes it off in a Google Doc of all of the different videos to someone else. And then that person goes through, downloads the transcript from everything, and then creates the descriptions, the titles, the thumbnails, everything from that using
Yeah.
TubeBuddy now. She was doing it herself before, and then using TubeBuddy now to do all of it. And so it'll generate my blog. It generates all my emails. So there's this application, and it's called Copy and Content, and it's an AI app I have been using for years, before AI was even integrated into it. And it's from this person who I just fell in love with back in, I don't know, somewhere in the 2000s, early 2000s. And I was like, this is great, because I didn't have time. At the time, I was doing everything myself. So what we did, I'll put the link in here for you. It really, really love it. Let's see, I'm gonna grab this link. I'll put it in the chat, I think.
Okay.
If there's, oh, there's the chat. And you can share it with your viewers. And then I can put TubeBuddy in there too if you want.
Oh, copy and content. Okay.
Yeah, copy and content. What he does is he's designed it for solopreneurs, and is really done a lot for like YouTube, press releases, any type of marketing you could imagine, from your website to writing a book to funnels, emails, nurture campaigns, anything you could imagine. And so what we do is that one video is the content for the entire month, and we use copy and content to do it. And so what we do is we take the script and we dump it in this, like one of they're called genies, but that's the AI in it. And it's designed for this. And so it gives the video description, the title, it does the newsletter, the blog, the social media on all the different platforms. Like it'll go from Twitter to Meta to LinkedIn, all of them. And it gives you all of that, including the picture suggestions, keywords, hashtags, all of it. And so that's what we use. And so in 1 week, all the videos, all the content for the entire month is completed by me and my team. And then after that, it's just taking care of our customers.
Wow. When you mention your team, I know that the team is not just doing the podcast, there are other things they do. How big is the team?
It varies. This is my weird hiring practice. So I have one person who is very, very close to me, and she knows because I am an or I've had businesses since the early like 90s. And so because actually I would say mid to late, early 90s, I was still in school. But I have since the 90s, I have had businesses. And so there's certain things that you have to have and an operating rhythm. And you have to be organized. Even if it's just doing podcasts, you have to be organized. We have documents of every podcast I'm on, every podcast we publish, and they're all living documents that everyone can access so we can keep track of everything so that we don't replicate content and talk about the same thing unless there's a reason to. And so we can find the history of these things and recycle them for other uses. Like maybe it's in one of my programs or someone's asked me about something and I don't have time. I can say, hey, go to this podcast and we've got it all
Yeah.
organized. So with my hiring practices, it's the same. And I believe that in the structure of the corporations, people are limited. They're siloed of, oh, you know how to do this. We're going to put you there. And then they project your career path from there. But that's not honoring the individual. We are complex human beings. We don't just go, oh, I want to do analytics my entire life. I mean, I learned computer coding and I was like, man, well, Perl went away real quick after I learned it. And then I learned C++. And as soon as I got done learning that, then HTML came out and I was like, I'm over this. I don't want to be in this industry. But if I had stayed in it, I would have been a programmer and that's it. And I just think that that's doing people a disservice because we're so complex. We're creative. And when you give people that freedom of not being stuck in a position, then they're going to love what they're doing. So it varies because I have this one person who is very methodical, like I am. We have everything organized. We have content calendars that everything maps in. And so we have one analytics dashboard that tells us everything. And then from there, we build processes. Every time we do something new, we have a standard operating procedure. And when you come on, I don't post jobs. People approach me and say, I love what you're doing. I want to work for you. Great. Why? What are you going to do? And then they'll tell me whatever it is. And we'll say, okay, here's all the applications and software we use. Here's the goal. Here's the business strategy. And like, we'll bring them in and teach them everything. And sometimes as I talk with them, I'm like, you should be your own entrepreneur, or you could use this on your resume to go get that job. Like, I think that we're a really great stepping stone for people to discover what they're good at, to experience a very unique environment that's very dynamic and global. So, all these different time zones without any of these restrictions and barriers. Everybody has to come up with their own job and continue to innovate. Everyone has to create their own ROI, and everyone has to have like these dreams, if that makes sense. Like, they need to be able to have the flexibility of experiencing themselves and the freedom to be able to mess up, the freedom to explore. That was kind of some of the reason that honestly it does hold us back. And it does drive my one person nuts sometimes. Because we had like a team of like 9 people and most of this year. And they're all kind of like moved out onto their next role. And so we'll have some more people come in here soon. And so it's onboarding them and teaching them all these things. But then you watch them grow and they either realize like, wow, I really thought I was coming on to do marketing. And it turns out this is really complex. I need a niche. And then we're like, yeah, lean into that. And so some of them have. They say, oh, well, can I own LinkedIn? And I'm like, sure, figure it out. And we give them all of the training, all of the things we have. And then we're like, go innovate it, go optimize it, make it better. And sometimes it hurts us because we fail and we fail hard, right? It's actually hilarious. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I was like, no, I'm going to own for the plot. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do it because I want that one to be very successful. Because I don't want to let my co-host down. But a lot of my other podcasts, I've been letting people play with. And so it's new that, my one person and others are like, you have good content. You should probably do something with this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really have anybody that stood out where I was like, we want to keep you full time. This is what you're going to do. Most of the time, I find these people or they find me and I'm like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And it changes, right? They come in again, like I said, with that marketing example, or they just can't keep up because we are very fast paced. And
Yeah.
we do an evaluation every year that will very quickly make someone go, I can't do this because it's at the end of every year, we go through and we pull analytics of the whole year. Besides pulling analytics of the whole year, we will also look at our revenue. We'll pull out the finances. We'll pull out like what was created, what's working, what's not working. And we will just start cutting everything. And we might come back in December and go, okay, we're going to use all new platforms. Your job is to write your standard operating procedure, and here's your new platform you're going to use. And they're like, what? So it's not a company or an environment where you can just lay back and just click buttons. It We don't do that. And so we're just constantly always innovating. A lot of it is because I do business consulting for solopreneurs and scaling
Mm.
of companies. So I always have to stay on top of all the software. Like AI, we have our own AI platform, plus we have the copy and content, plus we use ChatGPT. Like we stay very heavy in tech. And so we're always evaluating it and always welcoming the change. I think that a lot of corporations struggle because they get comfortable. And when you get comfortable, you die. You need to look at what's going on in society and you need to evolve. And you don't need to have a lot of overhead. We have the beauty of being able to have this cushion where we can create a playground for people to discover themselves. And I love that about us. So it's unique.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing the behind the scenes of the business and the team.
I know it's weird, but it works really well. And people never want to leave. Like, and they
Yeah.
might, and then they'll like so many times, like a year later, maybe sooner, they call or they send me an email. What are you up to? I just learned this. Can I try it out in your company? I'm like, let's do it. What is it? And they come back and play again. And so most of them have started their own consulting firms or their own businesses in these areas. And some have been like, this was great on my resume. Now I was able to go get this job I wanted. So it's really great. And some of them I have missed. I have one that I am like begging. And I said, like, I am begging you to come back. Like just send me a proposal. Like you changed everything for us and you kept up and you were able to just run with us. Like I need a second person. And so I'm waiting. She's thinking and she's going to present an offer to me soon. So that would make like two people that stay all the time. Other than that, they just come and go and come back with their innovations, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for the podcast you've been running, about 5 podcasts now. Does the podcast make money?
The podcasts themselves do not. I don't monetize. I don't like commercials. So I don't do that, but I have books, programs. I get hired to go speak, consult. Like with Bliss Out Mentor, people come into the Ready to Launch program, or they come into like coaching, or I come and speak at companies, or associations. Inside Journeying with Jessica, it's the same. There's programs, lots of speaking engagements there, and retreats. And then with Freedom Mystic, it's the same. There's all these other things that we do. I think that the podcasts to me are more about meeting people, living life, out where they're at now and then just showing them there's different ways of doing things, and or making them feel seen, or more comfortable with themselves. And so I don't plan to monetize them. It's more of I'm just going to share everything I share. Like the program I was telling you about, the Healthy with Fibro. We're
Yeah.
discussing that now because if you were to come into my Healthy with Fibro program before, it was 5,000 US dollars. And it went on for a long time and it was very intense. What we have found is it's about in that particular program, we would have the success rate was fine. It wasn't that. It was I didn't like the cost of it. And so it was how do we make this more affordable? Because a lot of times when people have an autoimmune disease, they're not as fortunate as I am. I've found a lot of ways of sustaining my bougie lifestyle without having to worry. I mean, it is, I love it. But not having to worry. I think that that's not the case. And one time when I first got diagnosed, that was not the case for me. I lost everything. All I had was my house and my kids and my husband. And it was everything else I had to sell, I just to survive. And I didn't have my career anymore, my business, nothing. And every time I turned around to get help, it was
Yeah.
so expensive. And so I've kind of I'm approaching it differently this time. I really want it to be affordable for people. And so we're going to do a lot of the podcasts teaching people very much so like, this is real. This is how you deal with this and giving them all the information I can. But the program itself is going to be every day. Good morning. This is what we're doing today. And we're going to do
Yeah.
one thing today. And they're doing it actually with me live. And so by doing that, we're able to cut down the cost of the program, not monetize our YouTube channel, and reach a lot more people and be able to help a lot more people. And like I said, keep that cost way down so it's actually affordable for people.
Wow. Uh, when you explain it that way, everything makes sense. I know that I'm quite surprised why the moment I mentioned is your podcast monetized, a lot of podcast hosts think about putting ads on the podcast, affiliates on the podcast, which was the traditional sense of monetizing. But as long as the podcast connects to what makes money and then it helps feeds what makes money, the podcast makes money. And that's it for me.
Yeah. And a lot of the people I know, as I've kind of dove into this myself, their goal is to monetize and add those commercials and or get a Patreon or subscribers or subscriptions, and I don't know. I I think some of it is for me, we don't know what the future holds in social media and these different platforms we can use. Hence, we have so many of them because we've had to continue to add over the years as more come out. And I also have gone through a couple experiences where we were censored. And that's why you don't see anything about herbs anymore. And even though I have all my licenses and everything, I was just constantly getting censored and it wasn't worth it. Just that frustration of being like, where did my
Yeah.
account go? So I use a variety of media and I own all my own things. And that's one of the things I think that podcasters should consider if they aren't doing it already. They need to have a way of building their list and you need it to get into the thousands. Like your first year, you should be like my actual list, my channels and my podcasts might not be doing great, right? Especially to like, I know now, right? Now I've been educated. I'm like, these are not doing really good. Um, but the reality is we have thousands of people that do follow us and we have their emails. They're in our newsletters. They're in our programs and they have been for years. And they just grow with us, right? And it doesn't matter what part of the companies they have come in on. At some point, they kind of end up in all of them. And just because they're taking their own journey. And as a
Oh,
podcaster, you should consider that. Don't worry. I mean, yes, you want to grow your following, but you need to have a way to collect their information. You need to have a funnel. You need to have some type of a subscription that you own, that you can extract all their information out of, because that's where your actual value is. And that's where if anything happens, if you are censored, if TikTok gets shut down, right? That's been going on for years, whatever it is, you're not losing those
Yeah.
people. They're still connected to you. And that I think is the biggest lesson I learned back in 2019. And that's when I was like, what just happened? We were making $10,000 a month and now all of our accounts are shut down. Our people are gone. I think my list was only 700 people at the time. It was sad.
Wow.
And so that's definitely something people should do.
How many is the list? How big is the list now?
20 something thousand.
Wow.
Yeah, now
Wow.
in
That's a
total.
lot.
Well, we've been around.
That's a
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds like a lot, but it's a slow growth.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, you've seen your fair share of being um, demonetized, suspended, and all that. And yeah, it just goes to show that as much as possible, you should own your audience. I don't like to use the word own your audience, but you should have direct contact and direct link with your audience. Because I feel YouTube is great. It's like having a middleman. Like, oh yeah, can you help us distribute this? Yeah, sure, we'll do that. And they did like, oh, I don't like you anymore. You're like, oh, what happened? What did I do? Say, I'm not going to distribute your content. But please, no.
Well, and
Yeah.
depending on what your subject is, YouTube will unsubscribe people from your channel. So you
Ooh,
don't have full control. And it's important to understand that it's marketing. Back in the 90s, like I said, when I had businesses, I would spend thousands of dollars every month on marketing to normal, like billboards, commercials, print ads. And what you need to understand is any form of media now, if it's YouTube, Meta, TikTok, I don't care what it is you're using, all these other forms, it's free marketing. All you need to do,
yeah,
think about what I do. I spend one day a weekend, like 5 hours a weekend, and we can generate an entire month's worth of marketing. And when you flip it and start looking at it that way, the only reason you want views is just so that your message is getting out. But
yeah,
you have no control over that. Whereas if you go to mainstream media or print, you actually have a lot more control over it. It's just going to cost you a lot more. So look at it as
yeah,
marketing, and you can monetize how you want. But if you can, I always suggest bringing everything in house. My monetization is
yeah.
all in house.
What are earlier on? Okay, your team handles most of the podcast. What are the plots to which you just learn to you see how it works and everything? So far, what would you say is like the major growth lever method you use for growing your podcast?
Like where I want to grow the plot.
What's the go-to method you use for growing the podcast? Right now you have about 5 podcasts. So how do you grow the podcast?
I don't know what you mean. How do I go to podcast?
Oh, okay. You've had 4 podcasts, right? How do you grow the podcast into get in front of more listeners and in front of more persons? How do you
Oh,
market the podcast?
oh, okay, okay. So, well, TubeBuddy, we just started. Um,
Okay.
but we share everywhere. So that one video and that one podcast, we will put it on all the platforms and we send it out in email. And we have all of our lists segmented. And so, like for the plot, that list, I actually have no idea what it is. I haven't looked at it because we just started. So I'm sure I'll get the report at the end of this month. But all of these different segmentations of our audiences, they'll get the emails and then whatever platform they're on. So even though we're on all these platforms, that's not necessarily where all of our audiences are, right? Like I have some people that are Gen Z. Well, I'm not going to reach them on Facebook. And so they'll get
Yeah.
something on like TikTok. For my business stuff, it's LinkedIn, right? So there's all these different platforms. And so we'll publish on the appropriate platform with Twitter or what have you, or I guess X, uh, and put them wherever our audience is. Plus, they get the email and a text message saying, hey, new video just dropped. Now, for the plot, because it's new, we stream it live, but it's at the exact same time every week. And so
Yeah.
those people know, like, hey, we're going to be on here Wednesday at 8 a.m. every single week. And even the podcasts that are historical, when we get those published, we'll always have some in the backlog. So that way there's something we want to talk about, but maybe it's not flowing because the whole podcast has been through a journey. Maybe it's not flowing,
Yeah.
but something happens and comes up and we can't go live. We can still publish that at the exact same time. And so I
Yeah.
always keep like anywhere between 3 and 5 episodes in the backlog for all the podcasts, just in case something comes up, which happens. I was in
Yeah.
India for a while, and so all that content was backlog content they were using while I was gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it. I hope that answers your question, but it's mainly like
It does. It does.
yeah. And then
It does.
inside all of it, like those emails, those text messages, the other platforms, they'll get a CTA to look at the program associated with that topic.
Yeah. Well, what advice? Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing that growth tactic. It's one of those things I would start experimenting and testing out. And yeah, what advice do you have for the beginner podcasters or people who they're struggling to manage one podcast and all that? And what advice do you just have for the listeners, podcasters?
Get organized. So you start a podcast because you're creative and you have a voice and you have ideas and you got to get it out there to the world, which I love. And even if you're having people on your podcast, right? Like, you're like, this is what I want to do. So start, just first of all, just start, but get organized. So keep track of all of your videos. Understand, I mean, learn from my mistake. TubeBuddy. Hello, get it. Copy and content. Use that link I just sent you. Go get it. Um, those are the lifesavers for us to be able to do this. Even if my one person is gone, which she is right now, I still can go in, and because we have everything organized and this content comes from here, grab the script. This is how you grab the script. This is how you upload it. These are the, all the steps. I can just go through and be mindless and pull all of it together and publish. Um,
Yeah.
and so if you're organized and really authentic about what you're doing, that's what people are going to notice. And so I think that it's just really about setting up those systems and processes and having your own way of doing your publications and cut back on the editing. That is definitely what it's really have quality videos, because as soon as you start getting into editing, the cost goes up.
I see why you decided to do a live stream.
Yeah, it's so much
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica, for that advice. And it's been an absolute delight chatting with you and you sharing your journey with me and my listeners and the TubeBuddy, and just having a fun chat about the whole podcasting and the whole journey and business thing. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, where can my listeners learn more about you and what you do and all your businesses?
If you go to Bliss Out Holdings, that's my parent company, but it'll link you to all of them.
Okay, that's blissartholdings.com.
Yep. BLISSHOLMDING.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'll be sure to put the links in the description and the show notes so people can access it directly.
Absolutely.
That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I hope you enjoyed listening to this journey as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps others discover the show. And don't forget to join the newsletter at mypodcaststory.com/join for more stories and podcasting insights. Until next time, keep telling your story because someone out there needs to hear it.